learn something from the things that we have seen go on. He expects us to learn something. He expects us to learn something from how God deals with people. He expects us to learn something from it. And, all right, let me just go to 2 Kings 2. Let's go to 2 Kings 2. And so I want to talk a little bit more about it. I've been wanting to teach this for a while with the miracles, with the different miracles. I know that I don't have time to teach every miracle. And so, but what we want to do is we want to go to 2 Kings 2. And I just want to read the first and the second verse, Brother Ricky, and then we're going to skip down.
And it came to pass, when the Lord would take up Elijah into heaven by a whirlwind, that Elijah went with Elisha from Gilgal. And Elijah said unto Elisha, Tarry here, I pray thee, for the Lord has sent me to Bethel. And Elisha said unto him, As the Lord liveth, and as thy soul liveth, I will not leave thee. So they went down to Bethel.
All right, so this is really a test. This is really a test for Elisha. This is a test. This is a test. Y'all remember the story of Ruth and Naomi? And you know how that when Naomi got ready to come back to Israel, and Oprah, she went back, you know, doing what she was doing. But Ruth said, I'm not going to leave you. Where you go, that's where I'm going to go. Your God is going to be my God. She was committed to a woman who had nothing to give her. Amen? But her commitment to Naomi was really her commitment to God. All right? And so that was her commitment truly to God. Now Ruth she was a Moabite. She was one of Lot's descendants by his daughter descendants, which they were considered cursed. Amen. Their religion was cursed. God had said that a Moabite was not even going to enter into his congregation until the 10th generation, I believe it was. But Ruth changed his mind. All right. Amen. Ruth changed his mind. Why? Because of her commitment. Because of her commitment. And so Elijah is showing his commitment to Elijah. I heard Elder Cotton teach on some of this one time, and he was saying that everywhere that Elijah went, Elijah was cutting the firewood, making the fire, cooking the meals, washing his clothes. Amen. Because he was the one who was in training. He was in training. And so this is really a test. Now we have to be careful because we don't know how the Lord is going to test us. Amen. And so this was a test. All right. And one more, third verse.
And the sons of the prophets that were at Bethel came forth to Elisha and said unto him, Knowest thou that the Lord will take away thy master from thy head today? And he said, Yea, I know it. Hold ye your peace.
All right, now, the sons of the prophets, they were the school of prophets. And when you deal with Samuel, he was over the school of the prophets in his time. And when you deal with Elijah, he was over the school of the prophets in his time. And these were men whom they taught, mentored, taught, and in a prophetic sense, to know God and to operate in a prophetic sense. Amen. Now, Jezebel was over, she had 450 prophets, 400 prophets, and there was 450 prophets of the grove. Now, she was over that. And they were demonized, very vicious individuals, and she taught them the witchcraft and the ways of the world. And so the two forces were always at each other. That's why holiness and the world is always at odds. Amen? Because Jezebel represents the world, Elijah represents God or holiness, and Elisha represents the church. We'll get to that. We'll get to that. We'll get to that. Get to that. It's teaching, a little bit of teaching tonight. All right, let me see where we go down, and let me go back to another test, and that's in the 6th verse.
And Elijah said unto him, Tarry, I pray thee, here, for the Lord has sent me to Jordan. And he said, As the Lord liveth, and as thy soul liveth, I will not leave thee. And the two went on.
All right, so he tries to get him to stay there, but he won't leave him. This is him following Elijah is a type of the church following Jesus. Come on, come on. We are not to let Jesus out of our sight. We are to be so committed to Jesus that we are to, we are willing to sacrifice anything for him. Come on, come on, come on. Here is his test. It is just like he doesn't realize, or maybe he does realize that it's a test, but he knows that he can't let Elisha, which is a type of Christ, out of his sight if he wants to get the ministry that he is seeking to have. Okay, all right. Amen. All right, let's move on down. The 9th verse, the 7th verse, 7th and 8th verse.
And 50 men of the sons of the prophets went and stood to view afar off, and the two stood by Jordan. And Elijah took his mantle and wrapped it together and smote the waters, and they were divided hither and thither, so that they went two over on dry ground.
Okay, so this is Elisha. This is his 15th miracle. This is his 15th miracle. He only does 16. This is his 15th miracle. Give me some air, too. I can feel that heat. I can feel that heat hitting me, but I don't want to cut off because I see some of y'all cold. And so 50, what verse were we at? 8. All right, so Elijah does a miracle. He takes off his mantle, and he wraps it together, and he hits the water, and the water does what? The water stands up. Is that right? Amen, amen. All right, so he's a miracle worker like Christ, right? He's a miracle worker. He walks through the Jordan on dry land, but Christ walks on the water. Is that correct? All right. He's a miracle worker. Christ is a miracle worker, and the church should be a miracle worker. Amen. Elijah was a miracle worker, and so Elisha is following him and watching him very closely. And he is following him because what he really wants is a double portion of his spirit. Amen. That's what he really wants. What do we want from Christ? What do you want from Christ? What is our mission tonight? What is our goal? To get rich, to be famous, be saved. Be saved. All right, let me go on because time's moving pretty fast. In the 9th verse.
And it came to pass, when they were gone over, that Elijah said to Elisha, Ask what I shall do for thee, before I be taken away from thee. And Elisha said, I pray thee, let a double portion of thy spirit be upon me.
What does Jesus say to the church in Matthew 7:7? Ask, and it shall be. Seek, knock. Oh, come on, is that right? Very good, very good, very good. Did he put any limits on it? All right, all right, all right. So we see the similarities, right? All right, thank you. Could you open that? Oh, okay. And okay, thank you. And let's see. Let me go back. It says he wants a double portion of his spirit. All right, now let's go to the 10th verse.
And he said, Thou hast asked a hard thing. Nevertheless, if thou see me when I am taken from thee, it shall be so unto thee. But if not, it shall not be so. And
Elijah knew that he could not grant it himself. He knew that he could not grant a double portion of his spirit. But we see Elijah's spirit moving through the Old Testament to the New Testament, the spirit of Elijah. It rests, Elijah. It's going to rest on Elisha. It's going to rest on John the Baptist in Luke 1 and 12. He came in the power and the spirit of Elijah. And then you jump all the way to Revelation, and it's going to rest on one of the two witnesses. Come on. Because it is a type of the Spirit of God. It is a type of the Spirit of God in the Old Testament and in the tribulation. It is a type of the Spirit of God. Amen? And so Jezebel's spirit also leaps to the tribulation past the church age, and in Thyatira, and there's a lady there that's exhibiting the same behavior as Jezebel and the same influence. And so it's a type of the world. She's bringing the world into the church. Come on. All right. And so my whole thing is, the subject tonight is pick up the mantle. Pick up the apostolic mantle. Now we're going to go ahead. We're going to get to a little bit of that. And I want to do some teaching. If I preach this, you're not going to get it because I'll be talking too fast. And so I want to go back and go back to verse number 11. Go to 11, 12, 13, and 14.
And it came to pass, as they still went on and talked, that behold, there appeared a chariot of fire and horses of fire, and that parted them both asunder. And Elijah went up by a whirlwind into heaven.
All right, he went up by, how did he go up to heaven?
By a whirlwind.
A whirlwind, and what else? And chariots of fire and horses of fire. All right, when you go to the book of Zechariah, you see the horses, the spirit horses, and spirit horses, and you see the Bible teaches us that there are spirit horses, there are chariots, there are different things, and so he was caught up by God's transportation, still alive. Second man to go up alive. Enoch was the first. Elijah was the second. He went up in a fiery chariot. First of all, it was like a whirlwind, but it was really a fiery chariot with horses of fire and a chariot of fire. God's got some transportation for you. Yes, he does. I mean, what we see is nothing around here. On earth, it's nothing. And so God's got a fiery chariot. That's why I believe the people get that song, Swing Low, Sweet Chariot, coming for to carry me home. Some of y'all probably too young to remember that. And so when we were in the Baptist church, we used to sing that. Amen. Swing low, sweet chariot. So never mind. Let's go. Let me read the rest of this.
And Elijah saw it, and he cried, my father, the chariot of Israel, and the horsemen thereof. And he saw him no more, and he took hold of his own clothes and rent them in two pieces.
I want to show you something in verse number 11. They were so close together that the chariot had to go between them and part them asunder. He was following him that close. Amen? Amen. Amen. He was following them that close. Amen. Just like two people sitting close together, Hunter and his mother, or Rob and Tiffany, Leah and Andrew. Let me back it up now. Back it up. And so the chariot of fire and the horses of fire went right between them and parted them. We ought to walk this close to Christ. Amen.